As a result of all that, another dynamic that follows is that children who are programmed biologically to connect to somebody, they can't help it. They must attach to somebody. Their brains are telling them to. And consider for a moment how important attachment, which is to say closeness with another human being, is to even adults. And what happens to us as adults when our closest attachment relationships are threatened, and how disoriented and how upset we become. Well, the child is much more that way because he's much more dependent. She's much more vulnerable and helpless. So they can't abide not having attachments. But who will they attach to? Well, who's around? Well, who's around in our culture are the kids. So apart from losing their nurturing relationship with adults because of the pressures and social factors I've already outlined, then kids become connected to other kids. So for the first time in history now, you have immature creatures influencing each other inordinately. The result is immaturity, all kinds of behavioral problems, all kinds of interferences with healthy development, and a whole range of behavioral, learning, and mental health issues. So this is what I mean. The culture is meant to maintain our attachments and to give us a place where we actually belong and where we can be supported. That's the traditional role of culture. Nature can only program us to be attached and to be connected, but nature can't provide the culture. That's up to society to do that. Now, what happens in a culture when the rate of change is so rapid we can't even adapt to it? It means that we are disoriented, we lose our bearings, we lose our connections with one another, with our kids, and the result is what I began to delineate in the beginning, all these childhood problems, behavior issues, mental health issues, and a whole range of other problems, which of course manifest on the individual level and of course on a social level. And on top of that, then we have this culture in a narrower sense, that is to say the media, which reinforces those trends. Interestingly enough, if you look at most TV programs aimed at kids, adults aren't even in them. Or if they are, they're only present as laughable, peripheral figures. And it's just all about the experience of the kids as separate from adults. So the culture reinforces then our separation from our kids. And on top of that then, we've given our kids all this technology by which they can now compulsively connect with one another, even when they're not in each other's physical presence. And so you got the twittering and the tweeting and the text messaging and the emailing and the Skyping and the cell phoning, and you have essentially an alien peer culture that stands in separation and very often in opposition to the healthy culture that adults would like to pass on to their kids, but they've lost the power to do so because they've lost the connection. In short, what we've got is developmental disaster. Parents in a hunter-gatherer society don't have to know anything about attachment. Just like we don't have to know about gravity to walk on the earth. Gravity will just take care of us because it's there. Now, in societies where the attachment relationships are still working, the parents don't have to be aware of it. But in a society where it's no longer the dominant dynamic, in a sense of the culturally supported dominant dynamic, we have to become conscious of attachments, because the culture is forever undermining our attachments.